All right. Welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric, and that is Mr. Horsley. And today, it's a KSB number 19. And if you're joining our KSB episodes or our special editions, it stands for Kickstarter Signal Boost, because there are a lot, and I'm talking a lot, of independent creators out there making products, making content, making comic books that we always talk about, and they need your help to get over that hump. And so this is our way to show you some stuff that's out there that you might not have heard of without this.
And, and there's tons that come out every month, and we can't talk to everybody every month, but we pick 2 to 4 a month we want to talk with, and
that's right.
Bring them on, talk about their books, and hopefully entice one of you listeners out there to go check it out and back it or share it around.
Yeah, and we got 4 fantastic ones for you today.
We got 3 fantastic ones and 1 kind of good one. 3 great ones, 1's kind of aight.
It's kind of aight. It's aight.
It's aight.
So we got Joolz Rivera with Love Joolz.
Yep.
We have Madeline Holly Rising with Boston Metaphysical Society. She's been on before.
She has. She has a new book out and it looks great.
That's awesome. We have the infamous, I'm not going to say famous, the infamous John Horsley with the Eynes Anthology.
That one's aight.
That's aight. And then we have Tim Stiles. Cool Kids Punch Nazis.
Fun fact, Tim Stiles was actually on our very first KSB promoting Gorilla My Dreams.
Gorilla My Dreams, that's right.
Yep.
I love the title, though.
One.
Cool Kids Punch Nazis. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept that I can't wait to get into.
Cool. Well, should we just jump right in and see what Joolz has to say?
Let's see what Joolz. Joolz is an old friend of mine, so let's see what we talked about.
Cool.
My name is Joolz Rivera, and I'm a freelance illustrator. I create a comic called Love Joolz, Manic, Pixie, Nightmare Girl. Now, I start off by telling people that this is a slice of life comic, but I like to emphasize the slice of life, because Love Joolz is about pain. It's about inflicting pain, mostly. It's about me saying my really, really salty opinions about a lot of things in this world that tend to suck. But sometimes it's also funny, and sometimes it's about surfing and inspirational things. So, no bag, because that's what my brain is like. It's basically like, what if we spelunked into Joolz Rivera's brain? That's what Love Joolz is. I'm going
to stop you there. That is a great pitch. Just let you know that. That is a great pitch. Spelunking into Joolz Rivera's brain should be your tagline.
Oh, God. A little nervous because I'm starting to wonder if people are going to start forming their opinions, because already I think people are afraid of me. Like, I know. I mean, but that's part of Love Joolz. I kind of lean into the fact that the whole point of the name of the book is Manic Pixie Nightmare Girl. I'm just kind of leaning into the fact that, I know you're terrified of me. Yeah. I'll still make your dreams come true. You just have to actually work for it.
Yeah. But you're still a cool person. So, I've known you for a while. You're still a cool person, whether you are scary or not.
It's not like I'm a comics industry creeper. Anybody I felt up in the industry was good and consenting. They were very, very happy I was touching them. So
exactly.
Very, very happy. No complaint. 5-star Yelp review.
5-star Yelp review. They Yelp review for groping now? I didn't know that.
Well, the Yelp review I guess for me, feeling, Yeah, no complaints. I've never had anybody come back and go, "Excuse me, madam, I found the services to be substandard.
Can I have a refund, please? Refunds? No.
Although, if when Manic Pixie Dream Girl takes off, or Nightmare Girl takes off, hopefully we'll be seeing more of that. You made it when the cheapos show up. I like this, but I don't want to pay for it. Great news, it's a webcomic. You should go to the freaking web. It's a webcomic. You don't have to worry about, what if they pirate it? It's a webcomic.
It's online already.
I pirated it for you and for it for the web.
And made it easy. There you go.
Webcomics are more about marketing anyway. So, that was a little idea for me to start putting out Love Joolz. I just wanted to put out a comic that was just sharing thoughts about things. Because it started off with a conversation with my friend Jesse Sharon on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about emotionally abusive people, right? And then I thought, I could write a little 4-panel comic about this. I know exactly what the hell to say about this mess. Yeah. So I wrote out my little 4-page comic, and it was not 4-page comic. It was only 4 panels, which, by the way, is very new for me. Because, John, you've known me for a while, so you know that I've mostly been a long-form storyteller.
From your Mars Rocket days, I mean.
Oh, my God, you know me from way the hell back. Color-wise, with Love Joolz, I feel like Love Joolz is tapping into what I did with Mars Rocket, only in a smarter way. I feel like I'm grown up now, I swear.
Well, kind of. I mean, technically, by definition, you have to be grown up at some point, in some way, but how that happens. Yeah.
But some people don't get that message. They're like, nope, I'm going to not be grown up. Expect the rest of us to clean up the mess.
Right.
So, yeah, right? So yeah, Love Joolz became about me telling truth like that. I'm here to demonstrate.
I mean, perfect. It's like a live recording, a live reading of the book, right?
Live reading of the book, effectively. In fact, I got InDesign open, and I could read a passage from the book for you. And this is something that I haven't really seen in a lot of cartooning books, because when you're talking about cartoons and, in cartooning in general, everybody assumes that you're not really talking. I mean, everybody just kind of assumes that most cartoons are just from like a white dude perspective, which is fine. I don't have a problem with white dudes. I work in an entire industry full of you guys.
Yeah, you do.
A problem? Like, that'd be weird. That'd be like being a misogynist but working on selling lingerie and makeup. Oh wait, no shit. I don't think that exists. Oops, I tried, you guys. I tried. So anyway, I wanted to offer my perspective from the standpoint of someone who's a woman of color.
Yeah.
And hey, here's the thing I want to talk about. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
So let me see. I just want to pull up this passage because I'm really happy and I'm so excited to read it to you guys. I'm basically going to put this in my Kickstarter update tomorrow anyway.
Perfect. I feel like this is it's like a Bible study. We're hearing passages from the good book here.
A passage from the good book, except I'm an asshole. Sorry, a bad book. A very, very bad book. If you like books about bad people doing bad things, hi, what up? Go read Manic, Pixie, Nightmare Girl.
Perfect.
So, a reading called Being Latina. So I don't know if you guys have noticed yet, but I'm not white.
Wait,
what? I sound...
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
When did this happen? I've met you in person.
I'm not white.
Oh, man.
I mean, I sound white on the phone, but then you see me in person, you think that chick is definitely not white.
Yeah.
The reason why I bring up my non-whiteness is that being a person of color changes the way one experiences the world. I can't talk about my life experiences without bringing up my ethnic identity and what it means to me.
Yeah.
And by making the distinction between myself and white people, I want to establish that I have a different view of the world than someone who would have a more mainstream American experience. I have learned in my travels that the world still very much works and treats people on a color-coded system. And as such, my life has been affected. Mind you, the effects aren't all bad because I saved $5,000 on butt implants by being Puerto Rican.
Yeah. That helps.
Yeah, so Latinas often get the shit end of the stick, but the public perception of us as victims is totally mistaken. We get paid less, we get treated like we're only good enough for manual labor or simple tasks, and we get underestimated. And then we get pissed and lashed out. And then we get further shit for our outrage. It's easy to think that because Latinas get a lot of grief that it sucks to be one of us. Our lives are burdened and they're difficult and blah, 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 some shit. That sad fucking house on Mango Street and blah, blah, blah. Like, if all you take away from stories of the Latina experience is how burdened we are, you aren't fucking listening at all. Our stories are those of triumph and perseverance. Look at all the shit we've survived. The Spanish tried, America still tries, and yet we're still fucking here. And we're cute as hell doing it. So people have been copying our flair for decades. They pay for spray tans. They curl their hair. In fact, people alter their bodies to get our look. Did I mention butt implants cost $5,000? So what I'm trying to say is it's fucking cool to be a Latina. We're built to be hardy and fierce. We are strong. We are built to survive the bullshit of the world and build communities and families that thrive. We work hard. We make money. We make shit happen, and we don't take shit. In fact, we give as good as we get. We're not victims, we're warriors. Very sexy warriors. Please enjoy some comics from a sexy warrior lady perspective. And scene.
Oh, that was great. That was hilarious and awesome and oh so true in all aspects.
Yeah, so that's actually the one of the chapter headers of the book, because all of my comics in the book, they're grouped together by their subject matter and not when I chronologically release them, because it's really a mixed bag. I write about whatever crap whenever I'm feeling it. But in the book, I wanted to have a more cohesive emotional experience whenever you're reading through the material, right? Like all the work stuff is gathered into work, and all the Latina stuff is gathered into Latina stuff, and all the surfing stuff has its own chapter. So everything has its own chapter. So at the beginning of every chapter, I include a little foreword like that, just kind of setting up the material and just getting people a flavor for what they're getting into.
Nice. That's a very good reading. I like that. It's cool. It's cool that I was going to ask you about whether you did it like in chronological or not, but grouping them by quote unquote subject makes a lot more sense. It'll make it a lot easier to read too when people have it in their hands.
Yeah, because when I catalog my files, it's not really like I have it categorized by date. I don't put the date in any of my files because who cares? Like whether I released it in July 4th or August 4th, literally nobody fucking cares. So I figure for the purpose of the book, it's best to categorize by just each little individual chapter and experience. Also, that is something that Matt Groening did with Life in Hell.
Yeah. Which makes it a good place to start.
Exactly. So, I mean, I've had a Life in Hell book since, like, I was a tiny little baby. I remember my mom got it and gave it to me, and because, she liked the little Life in Hell comics, too. She would even clip out the comics from the newspaper clippings. That was kind of where I started to figure out gayness because of Akbar and Jeff. I was like, hey, why are these guys dancing together all the time? What are these fezzes? What's this all about? I don't know, but I just kind of made me understand homosexuality, and well, they're the same, and they dance and have fun together, and I'm like, okay. That's a good way to explain gayness to an 8-year-old.
Perfect way. I mean,
they wear the best. They dance together and have fun, and I'm like, okay, I get it, I guess.
Well, I mean,
but yeah, Life in Hell was a really fun comic, and that was actually, I think, where you got a little bit more unfiltered Matt Groening.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I used to love that when I discovered those books. I think I finally discovered that was a thing. Like I think I was in high school, so like late 90s, early 2000s. I was like, oh, this is so much cooler than The Simpsons. This is so much cooler.
Oh man, yeah, because I mean, you compare and contrast, like, at this point in the lifespan of The Simpsons, Matt Groening's voice has long since left the building.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't been his show in a very, very, very long time.
Right. I mean,
so it's interesting to go back and seeing Life in Hell and just kind of see he's more of his voice. And man, Matt Groening's a salty bitch. I'm like,
he is.
You're a mean fucker, and I like you. So it stands to reason I would model my book after my heroes. Of course.
Right. Exactly. That's what you do when you make a book.
Also, The Far Side was good, except I don't have too many single panel strips in Love Jewel.
Yeah.
I have a couple. They show up every once in a blue. I went through this weird little thing where during the summer I would read articles about chefs being assholes, and then I would have to make some kind of comic about me speaking to this chef. I don't know.
I mean, as you do, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you chef guy, you're being an asshole. Like there was a clip a while back of Gordon Ramsay's new show where he goes out and he challenges people in local places, basically the Bobby Flay show, but Gordon Ramsay,
right?
And way more jingoistic. So yeah, the clip going around the internet was where Gordon was getting read to filth by this Thai chef who gave him this look like, bitch, what did you just serve me? It's like, it's true. I mean, you're Scottish. You don't have the life experience to understand what Thai cooking's supposed to taste like. Of course you need to shut the fuck up and listen.
Right, exactly. Listen to someone who does it from there and knows what they're doing.
Yeah, who's from the place it comes from. And I think that's one of my very first Latina strips is where I'm like, hey, Gordon Ramsay thinks he can make like Puerto Rican food, but he doesn't. And then I make a commentary on the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Nice. I'm going to have to pick up your book because I want to read all these things now. So
see, I mean, it's a lot of fun. And I mean, the webcomic is one thing, but webcomic is just like digital disposable crap. It's another thing to have a book in your hand, and it's got a beautiful cover. Mm-hmm. I just described the cover to listeners. It's got the cartoon version of me, not really me per se, but it's got on a surfboard with a flamethrower in a crazy glitter sparkle dress screaming in maniacal rage. I don't see what.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a book that, if you want to see a maniacal screaming surfer girl with a flamethrower on a coffee table book, this is certainly something.
Who doesn't want that on their book? I mean, that's just a staple. I mean, everybody should have a book with that cover. Clearly.
Exactly. That it's just a cover that, it's funny how I designed it. I was just writing a strip, and I was like, what is the image I want people to remember me most by? And then my very, very, very first thought was, it needs to be as obnoxious and assholey as possible.
And done.
The most obnoxious, terrible thing ever. And I thought, what if I just drew myself on a surfboard with an AR-15, just machine gunning the world? But then mass shootings became more a thing, and I'm like, I can't have a book cover with an AR-15 on it. But a flamethrower is okay.
Flamethrowers are totally fine. I mean, Elon Musk told us that.
See, we don't have a problem with flamethrowers. We have a problem with AR-15s. Flamethrowers. Right. Going around going, I'm going to flamethrow my own job. I mean, gosh, I hope that doesn't happen. Please do not flamethrow anything. Please, don't do that. Don't flamethrow things.
Don't do that.
Do not. That's why I draw about it. So I don't actually have to flamethrow things for real, because I drew a picture of me doing it, and it's like doing it for real.
Right.
And that's the magic of artwork. La, la, la.
Well, Joolz, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and talking about your book, and hope everybody listening goes out and checks it out and backs it. I'm going to go back it because you're hilarious and I love your work. And I didn't even know this was a thing until today when I saw it on your page. For some reason, I didn't know anything about this, even though you've been doing this for a while now. So I feel like a bad friend because I had no idea you were even doing this comic book until today. So
don't feel bad. We've all been in it. It's okay. I've been just kind of broadcasting on social media where I can. Again, if you want to find it on Kickstarter, just look up Manic Pixie Nightmare Girl.
And there'll be links in the show notes for everybody too as well.
What was that?
There'll be links in the show notes for people to click on for the episode, so they find it that way too.
But in case you're not able to click, your clicking fingers broken, Manic Pixie Nightmare Girl. Love Joolz by Joolz Rivera.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, this should remind you of your old webcomic days.
It does a little bit, except for I'm not Latina, so I can't make those jokes where she can.
Right.
And I mean, I was a sarcastic asshole. She's a sarcastic asshole, and I've actually known Joolz since back in my webcomic days. I've known her for like at least 10 years. So
that's cool.
She's great. Yeah, she's great.
That's cool. Up next, Madeline Holly Rising, Boston Metaphysical Society.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Madeline Holly Rosing. I am the writer-creator of the Steampunk Supernatural series, Boston Metaphysical Society. And we are currently running a Kickstarter for our next standalone continuation of the series called The Spirit of Rebellion. And it's a Caitlin O'Sullivan story. For those of you who are not familiar with the original series, it's about an ex-Pinkerton detective, a spirit photographer, and a genius scientist who battles supernatural forces in late 1800s Boston. Our last standalone continuation, which ran last year, The Scourge of the Mechanical Man, was a Granville Woods and Nikola Tesla story. But this time I decided to focus on Caitlin, our spirit photographer and medium, and tell a little bit more about, her growth after the battle with the shifter.
I like your concept because you have such cool ways you can just take all your stories and tell these standalone stories within your world and just expand everything. It's so cool.
I've actually been doing that now for a few years, in that I have an anthology of short stories and novellas that look at some of the supporting characters and some origin stories. I have 2 short stories out in other anthologies that are Boston Metaphysical, one called Sometime Later, which came out last year, and then this year a Andrew and Caitlin story called The Underground is in the new anthology called Next Stop on the Number 13.
Oh, cool.
But the big news, of course, is the novel. The novel, which is also part of the Kickstarter, either as a PDF or a print copy. It came out last fall. It's called A Storm of Secrets. And it is a prequel to the original graphic novel and tells the story of Samuel and his wife, Elizabeth Wellsmore, and Jonathan Wellsmore, her father. Last week, I found out that it won a silver medal in the Feathered Quill Book Awards in the science fiction and fantasy category.
That's awesome. Congrats.
And literally today, like a half hour ago, they notified me that I had won. I guess it's sort of like the equivalent of Best in Show. It's called the Right Companion Award for Best Overall Top Pick in the Adult, Children's, and Adult categories, where originality is the key. Falling into a stereotypical plot or character is difficult for an author. That is why this award is given to the author that makes that lasting impression. Based on pure originality, this award seeks the writers who, like Dean Koontz and Child's inventive Aloysius Pendergrass, Child's inventive detective Aloysius Pendergrass, have created a character who makes that lasting impression on readers.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
that's really cool.
Yeah, so that was like, okay, that works.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. I mean, for my first published novel, I'm going like, okay, yay.
I mean, that's pretty cool. Coming out of writing comic books or comic books you've been working on graphic novels, and then writing a novel based on them, and then winning a couple of awards on it, that kind of speaks to the quality of your work. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like to think that. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I think anybody can make that assumption based upon, hey, you wrote a novel and it won some awards, and that's awesome. I've always liked the Boss Metaphysical side, just because, one, the name that I always have trouble saying it because my mouth talks too fast.
It's a mouthful. It is a mouthful. I understand that.
It is, and I speak fast. I talk really fast. I'm from Seattle, lots of coffee, and so those syllables mess me up. But I love the whole concept of it. I had you on last year to go over the last one you did last year, and it was I was really intrigued by it, and then it just, not only do you have a cool concept and like the steampunk time period, the way you attack things, but like you always have this artwork with the artists you work with. It's just breathtaking as well, and it's awesome.
Yeah, Emily, who was the original artist on the miniseries, the first 6-issue miniseries. Yeah. She's of course run away to go be a storyboard artist for Marvel now. She really captured emotionality so well. Yeah. In her characters, and she was like a manga anime crossover, and you could see that, which was fine. Yeah. It worked for the subject matter, but then when she moved on, word went out that I was looking for another artist, and Gwen Tavares contacted me, and I took a look at her work, and I said, yeah, let's do this. So she did Scourge of the Mechanical Man, and she's also done The Spirit of Rebellion, and has done a fantastic job. You can see, I like it because the characters have grown up. They've suffered real trauma, and so we get a more adult vision of the characters, which I really like. And it fits. Yeah. And I love working with her. I think she was really happy to be done because she's been living with this for like 3 or 4 months, something like that. And she's in France too. So right now she's living in France. So
fun.
And sometimes her internet works and sometimes it doesn't. So I won't hear from her for like days, and then suddenly I'll get this flurry of, work.
Like, yay.
Okay, this is great. Let me, I got to go over this. Give me a few hours.
That's always fun as a writer, though. Like when I get pages back from an artist, like they'll at first it's always like, here's a bunch of samples, here's the first page, and it's like really quick, and then there's like this lull of nothing, and all of a sudden I got like 5 pages in. I'm like, oh my god, hold on, this is so cool. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, that's always a fun feeling, I think, at least.
Yeah, and I love having discussions with her about stuff, and I learn from her, and hopefully, she learns from me, and
Yeah.
And we both grow because of that. But yeah, I hope she can stick around for the next one shot, which probably I can only handle doing one Kickstarter a year because I just can't deal with it.
It's a lot of stress. I'll tell you that. I know you know this, but I know this now too.
Yeah, it is a lot of stress, but it also eats up a lot of creative time. And not just during the running of the Kickstarter, but as you know, all the preparation, setting up the podcast, setting up the interviews, doing the press releases, making sure, you've got your email lists in line, your marketing letters, all that stuff.
Yeah, our podcast, this one, Spoiler Country, has definitely suffered the last 2 months of me just being fully focused on my Kickstarter. So Kenric's like, man, can we record? I'm like, I can't tonight, man. I'm doing this editorial stuff. I've already done 3 podcasts today, and I'm really kind of burnt out. And we've suffered to where we used to put out, episodes every week and multiple stuff in our YouTube show. We haven't put out our YouTube show since November, and we've been struggling to get one episode out a week right now as we get through this Kickstarter, because it's just it takes a ton of time. January was pretty much a dead month of me just doing nothing but prep work for it.
Oh yeah, and I had to. Well, as we talked about on in Facebook messaging, I had shoulder replacement surgery January 3rd.
Yeah,
and so I had to do as much prep work as I could because I knew the first 2 weeks after the surgery I would be really limited in what I could do.
Yeah.
And literally the first 3 days afterwards, I couldn't even sit at my desk. I couldn't use the desk at all. And so I was communicating through my phone, which I hate.
Yeah.
And but I discovered I could sit on the couch with the laptop and have it and be okay for a while before I had to go take a nap.
Right. No, I know. I had back surgery, not this last year, but last December 2017, and recovery time on any surgery just sucks. How long after your surgery did you launch the campaign?
3 weeks.
So you gave yourself 2 weeks to recover, then 1 week to get back into it.
Yeah, it was actually okay starting 3 weeks after. It's still slow sitting at the desktop because I don't have full range of motion with my right arm.
Right.
But it is significantly better. I mean, when I first came back to the desktop, I have a trackball because there's no way I could use the mouse.
Right.
And so I would roll over to my trackball. Oh, no, actually, first of all, I had a book in my lap and then my trackball in my lap, and then I would type with one hand. And then when I had more range of motion, I put the trackball next to the keyboard, and then I still have to kind of slide back and forth.
Yeah. Move yourself, not your arm. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I have to move myself and not the arm.
I've
but
been there.
It is much improved, but yeah, things are just slower and it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's doable for now.
It's doable. I get to start actual physical therapy next week, so I'm looking forward to that.
That's good. Yeah, I've been doing physical therapy for my back for the last 7 months, and it's been incredible how much range of motion I have now versus when I started.
Oh yeah, and the physical therapy is so important. That for anybody who's listening, get surgery, and then also you have to integrate when you finish with the physical therapy. You have to integrate that into your daily exercise routine forever. Yeah,
exactly. I have to do these stupid looking stretches and stupid looking exercises every day that I'm like, I look ridiculous, but they help. So.
Oh yeah. My husband has sciatica, and I was an instructor at LA Fitness. I actually retired at the end of December because of this, the surgery. But I just gave him 2 simple, easy back exercises to do, and within 3 weeks, he goes I feel better.
Yeah.
And now he does them all the time. So.
Right. What's funny for PT, especially at least from my point of view, is I've had PT throughout my whole life, from arm injuries, back injuries, and stuff like that, and I'm always this is silly, and I just don't do it. But then this last 2 times, I was no, I'm going to actually do it now. And it always starts out oh, this isn't going to do anything. But then you get a week or two in, and you're oh, I feel 1,000 times better than I did 2 weeks ago, and it's just getting better. So it's for me, it was getting past the whole, oh, I don't want to do this, and just making myself do it and going, oh, this actually does help. I should do it. and not be stubborn.
The worst part is I haven't been able to drive.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not allowed to drive for another week. Yeah, another week and a couple days. And that's because they had to break a small bone in my arm, and it's to allow that to heal. And they didn't want, say, if I had to make an emergency maneuver, it could easily re-break.
Ooh, you don't want that.
And we don't want to go there.
No.
So, yeah, my horse husband is like, it's like, okay, we're going out to dinner tonight, right? Yes, right. Going outside. You know, it's like,
that's funny.
Last week he even had to come back because I was like, there was some just stupid crap going on. Nothing to do with the Kickstarter, just other stuff. And I guess he was at work and he looked around. He goes, I think I need to go home and take my wife to Starbucks. So that's exactly what he did. He came home because I was going like, ah.
Right. Going stir crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, just going nuts. And then with the rain, I can't even take a walk. But I have a spin bike and everything in here. And
nice.
So
yeah, right now it's frozen here. We are frozen up here in Seattle, and it's like 19 degrees outside. The roads are all ice, and my kids have been home for the last 5 days going stir crazy. I'm like, you guys need to go outside and do something because you are driving me nuts right now.
Yeah, and I feel particularly bad for those in the Midwest and East Coast. That's crazy.
Yeah, I say I'm frozen. They're like sub-zero frozen over there. I saw some of the temperatures like the negative teens, negative 20s. That's so cold.
There were some places it was like minus 50.
Holy crap! That is too much. That's too cold. That's way too cold.
Yeah. That's where you can't even go outside without making sure your face is completely covered. You can't breathe the air.
Yeah.
You have to breathe through something else.
That's like instant frostbite temperatures.
Yes.
Yeah, that's insane. It's
extremely, extremely dangerous. And for those of you who may be listening to this, you have our deep sympathy out here in what is now sunny California. And it's only like, it's 50 degrees here and we're freezing, right? Because our frame of reference is so different.
It is. Well, and even here, it's like here, because I'm in Seattle, I go to San Diego for Comic-Con every year, and San Diego gets hot, but I get down there, I'm like, man, it's for me, it's boiling hot when I'm down there. But they're like, oh, no, it's not that hot. Wait till August. I'm like, I don't want to be here in August. It's too hot then.
In case you don't know, speaking of the Midwest, and I feel bad for them, Source Point Press picked up the first 6 issues of Boston Metaphysical and the trade. And nice. We will be in, the first issue will be in the Diamond Previews catalog in May.
That is so cool. That's awesome. I like Source Point. They're cool.
Oh, yeah. Travis and Josh, they're amazing.
Yeah, that's cool stuff.
And then they're going to reissue the trade, I think, next year. However, I will still be selling what we call a convention special trade when I do. So you can still get the trade directly from me, but you can't get it anywhere else until they formally release it. So if you other than the Kickstarter, you can get the trade through the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to see me at a con, of which, what am I doing this year?
I was going to ask, are you going to Seattle, or are you just staying in California this year?
I'm on the waiting list for Emerald City. So I don't know what's going to happen there.
I'm on the waiting list too, and I'm local to them, so they always put me on the waiting list though.
Yeah, our plan was to share a booth with Chimera Press.
Okay.
And they're down here in Southern California as well. But yeah, we just have to wait and see. Going to a small steampunk convention called Clockwork Alchemy, which is in Burlingame, California, which is near San Francisco.
Cool.
It's loads of fun. I'll be at WonderCon. Probably another steampunk thing, Gaslight Gathering in San Diego. Denver Comic-Con. San Diego, Silicon Valley, and Rose City.
Oh, nice.
There.
I'll be at Rose City too.
Okay, great. So we can like say hi.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll be at San Diego. Of the ones so far, I'll be at San Diego and I'll be at Rose City, and I'll be at Emerald City walking around. I'm doing a panel there on Thursday. Then I'll be walking around there the other days. I haven't quite lined up what cons I'm doing yet, just because I don't know when I'll have the books fully.
Yeah. But yeah, Rose City should be fun. I've been there before. They run an excellent con.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. They have the guys who run that one are doing a new one in New Orleans called Big Easy Con this year too, in June.
Wow.
Which I'm like, that'd be really fun to go to a con in New Orleans, but then I'm like, getting there from here to Seattle by June with the books, that's going to be really expensive, and I don't know if I have the funding to add another con this year.
Yeah. I'll talk to SourcePoint. I'd love to get back onto the East Coast. I've been to Boston Comic Con twice, and then they got bought out by a Canadian company, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then they jacked up the prices of the tables.
Of course.
And it was just like, and between the hotel and the flight and the shipping.
Yeah.
It
gets expensive real quick.
Yeah. Doing cons like on the East Coast, I at least try to break even.
Yeah.
Because I look, because it's so expensive. I look at it as that these people are future Kickstarter backers.
Yep, exactly. It's promotion.
and that usually works.
Yeah.
And I love doing the Boston Comic Con. But yeah, maybe you can work something out. I did go to Dragon Con.
Oh, I heard that one's cool. I've never been to that. Never been there.
Yeah, I was very fortunate in that I had a place to stay.
Nice. That helps.
Yes, I have a friend who lives there. And so, yeah, I got dropped off at the MARTA transit station every morning, which works for me.
Yeah.
And it brought me right into downtown Atlanta. Yeah, no, I really liked it. It was really nice and tons of fun.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's one of the ones, like, it's that one and C2E2 are two of the ones I want to get to. Just to, one, experience them, and two, I'd love to, sell my wares to those ones too.
Yeah, I like to do C2E2 at some point, but I figured let's get back into Emerald City. Before they were bought out by Reed Pop, I got in, but afterwards it's just been very difficult.
Yeah, there's a whole, up here in the Northwest, there's a whole love-hate with Reed Pop and Emerald City.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to get in as an artist unless you have connections.
Yeah, that's why I went in with Chimera, because they'd gotten into C2E2. But they said they were, well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Crossed fingers. Hope to go. I've got relatives up there too.
Yeah. There's a lot of creators up here too. So back to the Kickstarter real quick before we sign off. Yes. Where are you at right now, and like what's left for you in the campaign?
We are heading towards stretch goal number 6.
Oh, damn. Nice.
Which is another comic bundle. So basically, if you pledge just $6, you will not only get a PDF of The Spirit of Rebellion, but an additional 13 digital comics.
That is awesome.
That's a lot for your money right there.
It's a lot of books for your money.
If you pledge $10 and above to a physical reward, you not only get those additional digital comics, but 3 prints as well.
Oh, cool.
And the prints are by, I don't know if you know Tom Brown, who does Hopeless Maine, which is a very kind of gothic, creepy, it's cool. It's very Lovecraftian.
Oh, nice.
And another print by Sophie, I can never pronounce her name correctly, Propschneiser. I'm sure that's wrong.
We'll allow it. It's fine.
Who did this very cute pinup of Samuel and Caitlin. And the one we just passed was a print of the cover of the novel, which is also an award winner. Louisa Pressler is the artist on board, and if you haven't seen the cover for the novel, go take a look. It's just jaw-dropping.
I saw it on your campaign. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful drawing.
Yeah. So that was the last print. So yeah, I have more stretch goals in mind. I'm thinking, I think we'll get to this, the current stretch goal. And so I've got some cool bookmarks. Nice. And I'm thinking of doing one as a silk bookmark where it has like a silk finish. But that would be the next stretch goal after this.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Silk bookmark.
And everyone, of course, who pledged to a physical reward would obviously get that.
Right. That's what's cool about Kickstarter. You can pledge, and if it goes really well, and the book, whatever you're pledging on, does well, you can get extra stuff you don't realize. I can't tell you how many times I've backed books and then not followed backed in the beginning, not followed the campaigns. At all. I just already paid my back to whatever I want to do it, and then I get the thing in the mail and it has like the book and a bunch of other stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. I guess I hit stretch goals.
Oh yeah, cool. I do that too. It's like, okay, here's my money, and then it's like, what is all this stuff? Okay.
Right. It's like, oh, I got prints, I got a book, I got a patch, I got buttons. This is awesome.
I got buttons, and then all of a sudden, all these digital awards. It's like, oh, I always wanted to read that. That's awesome.
I've gotten a lot of indie books that I missed the Kickstarters for, or that I wanted to read and didn't get a chance to pick up. I'll back something else and then get an indie bundle out of it. I'm like, oh, this is great, and then I'll go buy the next issue from them and like follow them that way too, which is cool.
Yeah, which actually you can do with mine, because I have the first issue of Drexler and in a bundle, and the first issue of Amelia Skye. Mm-hmm. So if you've backed mine, they currently are running Kickstarters right now. You can go pop over there and get issue 2.
And yeah, I can tell you for a fact, Drexler is good. I actually backed Drexler on the first one. It's a great issue. I love it. I backed number 2 already too.
Yeah, no, Drexler's good. As we were sitting here plugging other Kickstarters, but they're our friends. So we don't mind.
Right. I mean, I literally do a show once a month where I plug Kickstarter, so it's I like to share the wealth and share the love with everybody out there, because I love comics and I love indie comics mostly.
Yeah, and Nathan Kelly and Bob Sally, they're great guys, and they've supported me for years, and it's all part of that giving back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you meet your next stretch goal and beyond. And thanks for hearing me out on my stuff in chat and give me some tips here and there. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Just message me if you have any more questions.
I will. Don't worry. I won't be shy about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Every time I see steampunk, I like it.
Same.
But I've never actually went out searching for it.
Do you know why I haven't dived into the world of steampunk yet?
Why?
Because I know as soon as I do, I'm going to fall in love with it, and I'm going to want to buy a bunch of steampunk stuff. Because I already know I like it, because I like the aesthetics of it.
Where does it come from? What do you think was the first one to do steampunk?
I have no idea, but it's I love it. I mean, say what you want about the movie Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
I was just thinking about that movie.
It's stupid, but I still like it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
all
it's stupid fun.
Cool.
So Will Smith did that instead of what? Was it?
I don't remember.
Matrix?
Maybe.
I think it was the Matrix. Like he was shooting that instead of shooting the Matrix. I can't remember. I know he missed out on a huge movie because of that movie.
Yeah.
But I like that movie too. I think it's fun.
I think it's fun. It's stupid. It's dumb. It has a giant spider at the end. Whatever. I think it's fun though.
Yeah. Okay. And then up next is, it's you with the Eynes Anthology.
And you.
And me. Whoa.
So here's us talking about a book that we're both in.
Talking about us.
Yeah. Hi, my name is John Horsley, and I have a book called The Eynes Anthology, currently on Kickstarter. It's about a family that is dealing with the occult, the monsters, and the things that go bump the night with the last 1,000 years. And it has 10 stories in it with a bunch of creators in it. I hope you enjoy my story.
Well, there you go. How is the Kickstarter going?
It's doing pretty good. It's at 68% right now, and we got like 20 days left. So hopefully it's these last 20 days don't peter out and we get funded and get this book out to everybody.
Yeah, well, you've been going strong. I mean, you came out of the gate really strong, which is great.
Yeah, first day we hit 50 backers and like $1,500 in the first day, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's crazy. That makes you feel good. That gives you that momentum that you're hoping to get.
Yeah, I was honestly, I was a little worried we're going to come out the gate with like 10 backers and like have to fight for it because this is like our first book of this series.
Yeah.
And, who knows who I am besides people who listen to the podcast,
Yeah. Well, supernatural stories. What made you interested in doing a supernatural story?
I really liked, I like the show Supernatural. I like horror stuff. I like,
I just realized in my head what that must have sounded like, that it was all about Supernatural, the TV show, but in the realm of the supernatural is how I should have said it.
There you go. I don't know. I like things that make you question things, right? And that's what horror does, and supernatural stuff does, and sci-fi does. It makes you question things because it puts things in front of you that may be normal in one way, but there's some twist to it, something that makes it not normal, and that really intrigues me. And being able to lean into my love of horror movies or not movies, but like just horror monsters movies and books and everything that's just weird. Leaning into that was something I really wanted to do, and to kind of create this whole thing.
That's cool. So is there something that you started to do in this, or not something that you started to do? Maybe you started this project and you're surprised by what has come out of it?
Yeah, I'm surprised by just the sheer volume of people who are on board and thinking it's a good idea and like following me with it. Because, I mean, just for anyone creator out there to come up with an idea and like try and see it through and get it to the point where it's being printed and people read it, to have people along the way that are like, yeah, this sounds like a good idea, and to be pushing you and like, having people in your life that are like, yeah, this is good, you should keep doing it, not like, oh, this is a waste of time. That like really keeps the fuel going and keeps you wanting to create. And I was getting, I knew when I had this idea that I had a good idea.
Right.
I just didn't know that other people were going to think it was a good idea too.
You're thinking they're going to think I'm an idiot and that I only think it's cool. I do that all the time. I have ideas in my head and I think it's great. And then,
right. And then they pin it around and like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, it's hard, it's hard to keep the motivation. And I guess having people around you telling you, hey, let's keep going on this, it's, that helps.
It does help. And because when you have that and you have like, I have Casey on board and I have you on board, and it's that people behind you is like, yeah, this is a good idea. You have a good idea. Let's keep going with it, and spouting ideas out and talking about, plans of how to promote it or plans of next stories or working on the stories. It just really keeps you the fuel going and keeps you wanting to do more and more. And it really hope people receive this book with as much like anticipation as feel like I'm putting into this thing,
Yeah. What are you most excited about with this project?
The first would be holding the book in my hand and seeing it, because it's been like a 2-year journey to get to where we're at.
Yeah.
And getting that shipment in when they if it funds and gets printed, but getting that shipment in of books and opening it up and like holding that first book in my hand is going to be like, oh, because there's something said. I mean, I did webcomics for a long time, and I see my stuff online. I see it get shared around and stuff like that. But when you get it actually printed in a book in your hand, it's like,
it's different.
I made this. I made something. This is a physical thing that I could, this is goods and service. I could trade this for money.
Right. Right.
And it's a good feeling.
What is one thing that you would change that from when you started from where you are now?
I would have started getting other artists on board earlier if I would have planned this originally than how I'm doing it now. Because originally, as some people know, I was going to do all the art myself and kind of make this a whole big like promotional project for myself as an artist. But ultimately, it came down to the fact that to tell the best book possible would be to have other people draw the stories in their voice. That each story has its own voice. Yeah. And I wish I would have come to that realization. I mean, I know you told me that, Kenric, and my wife told me that, but I wish that I would have like solidified that in myself and made that a thing earlier.
Maybe listen to that in July of 2017 when we first both said that to you.
Exactly. And then, because then I could have been a lot further ahead in the game with this book, and maybe I've got it out of my original, because I originally planned to have this book out last year and it got delayed by a year because of me.
But I mean, those are learning experiences, and you took a different tack than most people do with the book, which makes it special.
I did. I mean, bringing separate writers on and finding artists for the writers and then paying everybody in advance kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say it sets us apart, but it basically sets up with a different tone.
Yeah. I don't want to say it sets us apart, but it sets us apart.
Well, I mean, because there's other books that do stuff like that, do like the pay their artists and stuff before the book gets printed, and that's great. I just think the whole way that I was able to, I hate talking about myself and things that I did and think they're good, but I think the way that I was able to take the writers and the scripts and then pair them up with artists that I felt matched them really well to tell their story, I think that's something kind of unique for an indie book. I mean, that happens in the big leagues, right? We have editors pick artists for books and team people up. But in indie anthology, where it's a lot of stories, usually it's like, hey, you're a writer and artist, get a team together, submit a story, and we'll see if it's good enough and we'll print it. This was more, I like these stories, I want these stories in my book, and now I want to go with this artist and this colorist and so on and so forth, and building a team for each story versus just having someone bring me a team.
Right. You very much took an executive producer type role.
Yeah, it orchestrated this whole thing.
A director's role, really, more than anything.
Yeah.
And all the writers and artists and colorists are your actors. And
Exactly.
And here's the story that we present.
That's right. You're one of my actors. Thanks, Kenric.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks, Johnny, for giving us a breakdown.
Yeah. And if you want to back the book, you can go in the show notes below and click it. Yep. Or you can go to Eynes Anthology, EYNES Anthology.com/Kickstarter.
There you go. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's fine. So
clearly, that book is the best one here, right?
Right.
Clearly. No bias. It's not just it's awesome.
Where do you guys go? I'm sure you guys have heard lots of stuff of us talking about it like over and over.
We've talked about it a couple of times.
Right. We have rubbed it in quite a bit. Right. And now we're trying to rub it out to everybody's face.
Right? We want you to.
Did you just hear that whole analogy?
I'm trying to ignore it. Okay, I'm trying to let it go by without saying anything about it. Okay,
we're just throwing ropes of Eynes Anthology all over the place.
Oh God, come on! Look, I want people to back the book. I don't want them to think about that when they go, "Oh wait, he made a rope joke." Never mind.
Oh my God!
All right. If you're listening, if that made you buy the book, please let me know so I won't have to hate Kenric. Okay.
Tim Styles, I'm sorry I got to follow up with this, but let's check out why cool kids punch Nazis.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Tim out of Australia, and he's got a book to talk about. So what's your book about?
I'm launching my latest comic book, which is Cool Kids Punch Nazis, the Artist Edition.
I love that already. So I assume it's about cool kids punching Nazis.
Yeah, well, basically what I've done is I've taken some really old public domain superhero stories about, public domain superheroes fighting Nazis, and I've basically rewritten them, recaptioned them, and made them sort of a really tongue-in-cheek, funny type, a comedy comic book. You've got your Nazis are stupid, your heroes are stupider, and each story is resolved by punching Nazis.
It's that's great. I love those kind of things. That's cool. I didn't realize you were doing a thing where you took old public domain and rewrote them, because I've actually thought about doing that before in books of grabbing old public domain comic books and stripping out the text and rewriting my own funny stories. But this is a cool theme because everybody should punch Nazis. So
so where this came from, and I mean, look, anyone listening, has seen the news with Nazis, marching in the streets, and all this madness is happening. Even here in Australia, just this month, we've had a big neo-Nazi, what do you call it? Sort of a rally get together at one of the beaches in Melbourne. So it's really raising its ugly head again. This whole fascist, Nazi, racist agenda, and frankly, man, I got to the point where I'm like, it's driving me crazy. I don't know what to do. So that's where the idea of this comic book came from. Anyway, is that it was just my way of just coping with this world of madness that's happening right now.
It is mad. So I don't understand it. I mean, being here in America and seeing what's happened this last couple of years, it's crazy to have anybody would be supportive of this. And there's people I know that are supportive of, like, not just straight Nazis, but like the alt-right movement that's happening here in America. It's like, really, how could you be behind that? But man, that's cool.
It's true, man, because and I mean, we see all your news over here as well. We're very much got our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the States as well, and that's why the Australian racists are very quick to to follow, and unfortunately, with the good and the bad that comes out of the States, Australia is always ready to take your lead, follow your lead, sort of thing, and then look, that's not always a bad thing, because there's a lot of great stuff that comes out of the States, but this is just one thing that I wish we didn't latch onto.
Yeah, this is one thing I wish nobody latched onto because it's not worth it.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And anyone with any sort of common sense. I mean, look, it depends how far we want to go into, what's the word? The history of white supremacy and whatever. But the whole Aryan race thing is part of the same belief of Atlantis, and it's like, you're going to believe, okay, we're the Aryans, we're the superior race, but that belief comes along with people living underwater in Atlantis, so it's like, come on, guys, get with it, learn what you're talking about and make some common sense judgments,
You mean Aquaman's not real?
Or he's a Nazi.
Or he's a Nazi, right? He's a Nazi Aquaman.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So what we've got is okay, what happened last year? I had a Kickstarter that some people will know about called The Flame Reblazed, where I did this same thing. I got some old Flame comics. I took all the text out, rewrote it as a stoner comedy book. And basically, the hero, the Flame, he has to smoke weed to get his powers and to fight crime. Okay, and it was again, it was 24 pages of just nonsense. And what happened was, when I got the book back, there were like a bunch of spelling mistakes. Okay, and so as an apology to everyone, because I had all these books, I couldn't just throw them away and order more. I sent these books out, but what I did was I put together a 20-page Cool Kids Punch Nazis book that I sent out as an apology to everyone else. So they got 2 books. They backed the Flame, but they got this first edition of Cool Kids Punch Nazis.
Nice.
And it was only 20 pages. That was only really intended to be sort of a throwaway book. But the feedback that I got from that was that everyone loved it, and it was so fun. Everyone thought it was great. It was funny. So what I've done is I've taken that original 20-pager and I've done another 20 pages. So it's a 40-page book now.
Nice.
That's the difference. That's why I call this the artist's edition. It's going to have a regular cover, but it's also going to have a pledge level for a blank cover where I can draw, a zombie gorilla punching Hitler or whatever you need drawn on it. I can do that.
Just something punching a Nazi, whatever.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. And what's happening is, as far as stretch goals are concerned, everyone who loves Kickstarter loves the stretch goals. The stretch goals are going to be more pages. Okay.
Nice.
So basically, if we break through all the stretch goals I've got planned at this point, we will have a 48-page book that you're paying $10 Australian for.
That's pretty good, especially that's awesome. How much is your sketch cover going to be?
The sketch covers, for me to draw on them. Okay, so what I've got is I've got a pledge level for $25. That'll get you the regular cover and the blank sketch cover, but not drawn on by me. So you can take that to a con and look, if you're lucky, you can get Jim Marford or someone awesome to draw something on there. But the pledge level where I draw on it is a $49 pledge level. And what you get in that pledge level is you get the PDF of the book, you get the regular cover of the book, and you get the blank cover with a one-of-a-kind drawing by me.
Nice.
So, and each of those, as I said, as we break stretch goals and we get more pages, that means the digital one's going to get more pages. Regular cover and the blank cover are all going to all have the same amount of pages depending on how many stretch goals we break through.
That's awesome. I'll have to watch that one and see if I can afford the sketch cover and the insane shipping to America.
Yeah. Well, I think what I've done, though, is I've actually managed to get in contact with some printers in America and the UK. So for people in America and the UK, I have some small printers who are going to do it, and I've got someone over there who's going to package them and send them out. So it shouldn't cost more than $8 for shipping for you guys. So, yeah.
That is cool.
Unfortunately, it's not like I could do that with every country. So, Asia, Africa, Europe, it's too hard to coordinate. So they will still have the huge sort of shipping price, which I'm going to cap at $19. So whatever you get, if the usual postage is over $19, I'm going to, cap it at that, and you won't pay more than $19 to get however much loot you've backed.
So buy everything I want from you, and it's $19 to ship it. Got it.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Like, you know, because I know, especially from Australia, I mean, I know getting things shipped from the States to Australia is pretty brutal, but especially getting from Australia to the rest of the world, it's really tough. So that's why I'm like, I've capped it at $19. You know, if the postage comes to $30, you know, I'm going to wear the $11. You know what I mean? So I just want to get this book out there. I want people to, you know, get their hands on it and have a good laugh at Nazis. You know,
as you should. As you should.
Exactly. And so I'll give you a quick rundown of what stories you can expect before we start breaking stretch goals. Okay, we've got a story featuring Kangaroo Man, which is basically these are all from like 1940, 1942. Right. And Kangaroo Man is just an Australian character. He's just a dude with a kangaroo, right? It's crazy, man. When I discovered this character, I was like, this is incredible. So, and he's taking on some Australian skinhead neo-Nazis. Next story, we have a one-pager featuring Little Hitler, which was how do you say, like in the funny books back in the 40s, and like they were just one-page stories. Hitler would come in, boss people, and it's like baby Hitler. So it's like, you know, pre-teen Hitler comes in and starts bossing people around, and then they usually either, you know, punch him or super glue him to a wall or something like that. So nice. I've got one of those that I've rewritten. Then we've got the Black Terror. Now, Black Terror is a public domain character that a lot of people probably know a fair bit about.
Yeah.
And so we have one story there where that story was really fun to write. I sort of went with the same sort of character dynamic between Black Terror and Kid Terror, or Teen Terror, sorry. The same sort of relationship as the Tick and what's the moth guy off the Tick?
Arthur.
You know how they have this sort of relationship where the Tick is just a moron and he's just got to punch the world into a better place, but Arthur's like, you can't do that. Let's think about this sort of thing, you know? So right. I set their relationship up like that, where to the point where, you know, the Arthur character, Teen Terror, he's looking at Black Terror and he's just so exasperated and he's just like, what are you doing, you know? So that's what was in the first 20-page edition, right? So in addition to that, what I've got is 2 stories about the Flame fighting what I call space Nazis. And, and then there's going to be a bonus story written and illustrated by me, 100% original story, featuring a character I've come up with called Bones the Echidna Man. And so that's going to be an introduction to that character as well. So that's 40 pages. And then as I keep saying, the more stretch goals we break, the more page count will go up. I'll be doing pin-ups. I've got a couple of friends who are going to do a couple of pin-ups for me. I've got and you know, if we break through all the stretch goals, the final one is Ahmed Rafet, who does my Gorilla My Dreams webcomic. We're actually putting a 4-page story with his art in the book if we break through all the stretch goals. So yeah,
that'd be good.
I'm really hoping we smash through to the 48 pages because it's going to be quite a fun book.
Yeah, and his art's great too. So I'd love to see that happen because it's fantastic. Gorilla My Dreams is a lot of fun. I like that story.
Yeah. Man, every day when he sends me a page of art for Gorilla, I feel so blessed. I'm so happy. You know what I mean? Like, he's so good. Yeah. I don't. There's no way I deserve an artist that good. If you know what I mean?
Right. No, I feel the same way with some of the stuff. How did I get somebody this good to draw my stupid stories?
Yeah. You know? And who actually likes the stories, eh?
Right.
You know, like, no, that was the thing with Ahmed. Was like, I originally found him on the internet, and I was just using him to do the designs for the characters of Gorilla My Dreams. And he sent me the first design for Knockaround Guy, the hero, and I really liked. Yeah, we did a bit of back and forward, some tweaking, and then what he came up with, I really liked. And then I got him to work on Margot the Mime, and then he did a design for that and sent it back to me as well. And then he said, "Hey, listen, man, what is this for?" And then I sort of gave him a rundown of what the story was and some of the other characters. And he was like, dude, I am in. This is the greatest thing. You know what I mean? So it's great. It's great to have an artist who is just as passionate and interested in the universe as you are, you know?
Yeah, it makes for better storytelling too, because, you know, they're into it. not just drawing it for whatever. They're into the story. And they want to make it as best they can.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, we're working on the second issue now, which is called
Nice.
Gorilla My Dreams, Gorilla Tales, but it's spelled Tails. Haha, pun.
Right.
And and it's a collection of short stories. Like where Gorilla My Dreams, Mime of My Life was one story.
Which was great, by the way. I loved that book.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. That's I still to this day think that's probably the best thing I've done. But anyway,
it's a fantastic book. I read it twice in a row.
Oh, thank you, man, thank you. And the second issue is like a collection of 5 short stories, because we finished that book, and I do have a plan for where it goes from that cliffhanger. But I said to Ahmed, look, man, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with this book? And he said, look, I want to do a Sin City style a bunch of short stories where they focus on other people in Struggle Town, and Knockaround Guy is almost a background character. So we view other characters. So that's what we're doing with this one. But the thing is, with the 5 short stories, they're not just random short stories. What they do is 3 of them drop a hint about Time of My Life is a murder mystery sort of thing. And so 3 of those stories drop hints as to what happened in Mime of My Life. And the other 2 short stories give us a hint of characters that we're bringing in with the next couple issues and stuff to be supporting characters and stuff. So although it seems like just some fun random stories and stuff, it's actually really part of it's interwoven with the universe and the chronology of Gorilla My Dreams.
That's cool. That had to be fun to write.
Yeah, it was. It was really fun. And we're about halfway done. We're hoping to do that for a launch in July or thereabouts. But Cool Kids Punch Nazis. Let's not get distracted.
Yes. Right, exactly. Right.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of pledge levels. We've got digital
What's your
level.
high ones? Do you have any high ones?
High one. I have a $99. That's my highest one. Okay. For that, you get the digital PDF. You get the plain the regular cover by an Australian artist called Matt Kimey. Now, and I chose Matt Kimey to do the covers for this because he has this really golden age feel to his stuff, and he's the sweetest guy in Australian comics, and he's so great. And I really I throw him as much work as I can. He's got his own book that he publishes called The Wrath of the Cursed, and so I've tried to collaborate with him on stories, and he goes, look, I don't have time, but I'm happy to do, covers and pin-ups if you like. So I always hit him up for a bit of a cover. So he's the standard cover. Then we have the blank cover, as we were talking about, with a sketch by me on the front cover with whatever you want. I'll just draw whatever you want on the blank cover. Then you get the T-shirt that has Bones the Echidna Man on it.
Cool.
And in addition to that, you're going to get one of the original pages of the Echidna Man story that I draw for this book. So that's the top tier. That's $99, and there's only 5 of them. So
that's a good one. That's a good
original art T-shirt, both copies of the comic and the PDF for $99.
And if I bought one of those, you'd ship it for America for $19.
Definitely, yes, yeah, yeah. That's the deal, man. Definitely.
That is a deal because that's going to cost more than $19 to ship.
yeah, exactly. So I'm prepared.
I kind of want it. So
cool. So yeah, that's basically the job lot. That's the big, you get everything sort of pledge level.
Right. That's cool. So when do you go live with this? When is it live on Kickstarter? What day?
We're aiming for mid-February.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but it'll happen between mid-February and the end of February. So
cool.
I haven't quite nailed down a date for that yet. We're still I'm still working on the pages I'm working on, and I'm the one sort of holding up the the situation here. So but yeah.
Yeah, so everybody listening, there'll be a link down below to click on to go right to it. And because by the time you're hearing this, it's going to be active. I just wanted to know for my own personal application to when it's going to be live. Cool.
Yeah, sweet.
So they better click on it and go down there.
So we're recording from the past. Ooh.
Yes.
How's things in the future, listeners? How's things in the future? Do we have floating skateboards yet? Do we have any of that cool stuff?
Has Trump ruined America more? Are we still a country, or have we gone away now? Has Britain taken us over again?
See, you guys all thought that Australia was going to turn into Mad Max, right?
No, it's us. It's going to be us.
Yeah, that's right. America's going to be the ones driving around in bloody Mad Max style. Yeah, exactly.
It's not as hot. It'll be a lot wetter.
Oh, that's great, man. That's great. So yeah, listen. Obviously, when you're listening to this, it's live. So get over and have a look, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. So Tim, thank you so much for talking to me today. Everybody, go back Tim's book. Tim's a great guy, great writer. And when you do your next Kickstarter for the next Girl in My Dreams book, definitely hit me up, and I'll have you come back on. We'll talk about that one too.
Yeah, fantastic, man. That'd be great.
Okay, interesting. You know, there's a whole thing right now where people are getting punched for other people thinking that they're Nazis.
Yeah, I know. People taking it literally, which is whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's an interesting concept, though.
Yeah, it's a cool concept, and Tim's a great guy. And I mean, I've befriended Tim.
Gorilla My Dreams is great.
Yeah, Gorilla My Dreams is great. I can't wait for the next one to come out.
Yeah.
But this would be cool. I've actually already talked with Tim. He's doing sketch cover versions, like blank covers.
Yeah.
And I've already talked to him about he's gonna have a reward on there to where I can get like 10 of them blanks that I'm gonna then draw on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, there you guys go. 4 amazing Kickstarters that are happening right now. So you can go to Kickstarter. If you have to back
only one, If you have to back only one, if you have to back only one of the books in this episode,
do Cool Kids Punch Nazis or Love Joolz or Boston Metaphysical.
Yeah, one of those ones.
Yeah. No, actually, you know what? If you can't afford to actually support any of these, then share them out, because that helps them tremendously, because then they get into a wider audience and you can help. And I believe almost all of these offer a $1 or $2 level that you can show support.
All of them have a cheap level to show support with. And even if like Kenric said, if you can't, sharing them around really helps way more than you ever realize.
Yep. So there you guys go. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Kickstarter Signal Boost number 19. Yeah. We're Spoiler Country. We are heard everywhere podcasts are heard, obviously. If you like what you hear, please think about subscribing or share it out with your friends. Let them know that we do lots of stuff. We have interviews. We have special guests. We do lots of different things. We even did a one-week course where we watched and reviewed South Park the movie 7 times in a row. I will never do that again.
We've passed the 1 year anniversary of that, so it's time for us to do it again.
No. Well,
we got to pick something else to watch 7 times in a row and review 7 days. So I think maybe in April,
something shorter.
We do that.
I can't do a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. We should do that week-long thing in April, right? And we should pick something short, like an episode of something, or something that's half an hour. But we should do it in April, because February is already booked up with all the Eynes stuff. March is booked up with all the Emerald City stuff we're going to do. So April, we should have a free time period to do that, I think.
Do something like that. Not quite the same, but something similar.
Some other 7 Days of Madness thing.
Yeah. So we're on all the stuff. We're actually all over social media. So if you guys want to reach out and say hello, please do. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Say hi.
If you want to call us, you can call 707-656-2080. Leave a voicemail. Again, 707-656-2080. And play us a voicemail. And someday we'll do something with them. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. But we're holding them right now.
That's right. Yes, Dennis. We do have voicemails.
Yeah. So screw you, buddy.
We're out of here. But before we go, open the mind. Read more. Bye.
It's funny. I thought for a second this episode was going to be like a break for people from the Eynes stuff, and then they threw Eynes into it. Whatever.